So today we are going to talk about experiencing the difference with Oneness NLP techniques. And it was funny, last night I was just talking with a friend and she was sharing how the difference that she noticed between NLP, HNLP, and Oneness NLP. And she had a friend who was trained in NLP, and she herself is being trained and already is trained in Oneness NLP. And they were two very dear friends that she was hanging out with. And she saw the one of them who was trained in NLP do a technique on their mutual friend. And she said she noticed a difference in energy and heart space, I guess, is kind of a word that's coming to me, in the way that the technique is delivered. And so a really cool thing that Jeremiah is going to talk about today, he's talked about it a little bit in past webinars, but he'll be sharing a bit about an overview of, again, the kind of the differences between NLP, HNLP, and Oneness NLP, as well as offering experiences. So for those of you who are on this call, who are being trained in Oneness NLP right now, or curious about doing it in the upcoming future, definitely watch in and see how he does what he does through online techniques, because it's really cool to see exactly how to connect with and move the energy while you're doing NLP techniques through Oneness NLP, and how that can be really efficient and work really well. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeremiah so you can get started and we can get as many demos in as possible. Jeremiah, you can take it.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us wherever you are around the world. And let's just start off with a centering meditation. Part of Oneness NLP, actually, we go technically into the spiritual world, meaning I don't know about where it's like in different parts of the country, but in the United States, I know it's like this for in different parts of the country, but I'm just sharing it this way. Sometimes when people talk about spirituality, it can be what's considered loopy or airy or fairy or wispy, or there's different ways to explain it. And when we actually do it and explain it, we have a lot of training at an ancient esoteric school, which is extremely rare to be able to have that experience on the planet. And we've brought that to the United States. We bring it to with us wherever we travel to. We're just in Italy last week doing some training as well. And one of the things that I found that works best for human beings is to just do a grounding, a centering, and we focus on spiritual technology. So this is what we're going to do. It might seem simple, it might seem easy, but just give it a go, give it a try, no matter where you're at. Let us just do a connection exercise, and it's up to you if you want to keep your eyes open or closed at some point. Some of you guys might be laying down horizontal or vertical, horizontal, so you might fall asleep, and that's okay too. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead and relax your body is the first possible thing, because you might notice that it's hard to be in a relaxed state, emotional state, if your body has some sort of tension in it. It's kind of like going to get a massage and tightening up as much as you can. That just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So you can go ahead and just relax your body. One of the easiest ways to do is just drop your shoulders and loosen your jaw. So if you just loosen the jaw muscle, drop your shoulders, your body will follow suit. And if you like to close your eyes, it's completely up to you. The first thing that's most important besides relaxing your body is to consciously focus on your breathing. Out of infinite possible things you could be focusing on right now, you could be focused on your left eyeball. Does your left eye see better than your right eye? You could be focusing on that. You could be focusing on your right ear. You could be focusing on what's in your left pocket, or even if you are half pockets with your pants or shorts or skirt that you're wearing. You could be focusing on politics or sports, or what you did when you were, your best thing you did in your life when you were 3 years old, or your favorite birthday. But if you can, which you can, consciously choose to decide to focus on whatever you choose to decide to focus on right now, you can focus on your breath. And what does that look like or feel like? Is you're bringing your focus or awareness inside of your body, inside of your skin. Most people have a hard time doing this by themselves. That's why they go to meditation, or maybe they do some sort of yogic practice. For us, we're highly trained to be able to do this, transfer this to you in a very short period of time. So again, focus on your breathing. I want you to increase gently your inhalation and increase the volume of your exhalation. See if when you breathe in, you can bring more awareness into your body. And when you exhale, relax your body even deeper. Again, on every inhalation for the next several minutes, just draw, pull, ask for more awareness, a greater awareness to come inside. And when you exhale, it's almost like that awareness is going into your cells and relaxing and being taken care of. So inhale slowly and deeply. While you're watching your breath, you're focusing on it, bringing in more awareness, and exhale, relaxing your body even more. So continue to do this, and while you're doing this, you can also, while you're focusing, or your focus, I should say, remains inside of your body, you can invoke, or call upon a very sacred presence. Imagine I'm going to be transferring something to you from wherever I'm at, through the phone, through the computer, through my consciousness to your consciousness. So right now, I am sending all of you. It is what is called divine light or golden light. And how you might be experiencing it is, imagine that this golden light enters the room that you're in, your specific room, wherever you're at. And this is the divine presence. You could say it's infinite intelligence. You could say it is your higher self. You can say it's the universal consciousness. Whatever you choose to decide to label it, if you remove all the labels of it, there's this one presence that once you experience, once it completely surrounds the room that you're in, it has some sort of attributes or characteristics to it. Some of the main components and characteristics are just a causeless joy, just a sense of peace. And you can have this golden light surround you, almost like you're in a protected ball, like an energy ball of golden light that's completely and totally sealed, and only the highest light and highest vibration can enter or exit. Now, if there's anything that needs to be cleared from you on any level, even outside of your conscious awareness, you could, if you wanted to, ask for the golden light. Now, understand what I'm saying. You're not doing this. You're asking for this to be done for you. There's a big difference between spiritual technology and spiritual concepts. The spiritual technology, and give it a try, is to ask for it to be done for you. Even if you don't know how, even better reason to ask. But everybody knows how to ask. You just repeat what I'm saying inside of yourself. You just say, if there's anything that I don't need now, there's anything that I need to give up to my higher consciousness, any problems, any struggles, any self-negative anything, any conflicts with any relationships, cleanse it, clear it, transmute it, upgrade it, and most importantly, give me the lesson directly now. Just put the lesson into my hands, into my consciousness, into my conscious mind. Show me the lesson so I no longer need this teacher. And please help all parties involved. Multiply this light. You have to understand, in the physical world, you move towards objects to get close to them, to achieve them, to grasp them. That's how that works. Psychologically, depends on how you linguistically code the information. You could be chasing the rabbit stick forever. In the spiritual world, The closer you move towards something, the closer it moves towards you. The farther you move away from something, the farther it moves away towards you. There are 3 different worlds, 3 different strategies, 3 different things. So one thing is, in the spiritual world, it's infinite, it's limitless. So there's golden light. There's anybody else that needs this golden light, that needs to be in this golden ball of connection, of healing, of transformation. Go ahead and ask it to multiply itself. Remember, it's divinely guided. It's not up to your mind, your conscious mind, the ego, what you think. That's just a couple different options out of infinite possible options, or a couple different thoughts out of infinite possibilities. So you can just have your higher consciousness or direct this golden light to go to anyone or anything now that could use this clearing, this healing, or better terms, an upgrade in some sort. And notice what happens when you send this golden light somewhere. You direct it. You can't do it with your physical hands. You can't actually even do it with your mind. You can only ask for it to be done for you. It's not a masculine doing. It's not a masculine energy doing thing where you do. All doing that we do is masculine energy within all of us. All being that we receive and allow is a feminine energy within all of us. Sometimes we need to do, and sometimes we need to be. And sometimes when we're out of balance of doing, we need to be more, and sometimes we're being too much, we need to do something. And it's really all about the balance. It's not about all or nothing. Because at the end of the day, on a bigger picture, all and nothing are part of the same thing, and no thing equally at the same time. To come back to what we were talking about, which is, notice how it feels to send that light out. And if someone or something else gets relief, whether it's in the physical world, whether it's in your psychological world, it makes you feel lighter, it makes you feel better. Sure, there could be tears that come up. Sure, there could be emotion. Sure, there could be causeless joy. Sure, there could be whatever there is that there needs to be there now. But by simply allowing it to be and happen, it's a beautiful thing, as are you. So, my recommendation is ask this presence. I call it the divine presence because it's very challenging for the mind to grab a hold on to this thing called the divine presence. You can call it whatever feels best for you, but I'm just going to refer to it temporarily as the divine presence, to ask for this to completely fill up the room that you're in, fill up the house or the apartment or the space that you're in with its love, with its light, with its consciousness. And if you like, you can ask for it to completely take over this call today for you. You could if you wanted to. I highly recommend giving this a try. Asking it for just to take over your day. Take over my responsibilities. Take over my decisions. Just do this through me and for me and with me. You just literally need to ask. And watch the flow. How easy it is to just simply be you. As you do what you do or don't do what you don't do. But either way, you'll be connected and flowing in each and every moment automatically. So when you feel ready and you feel complete, you can stay here, of course, as long as you want with your eyes closed. Or perhaps if you already snuck a peek and opened your eyes, you can do that whenever you are ready and feel complete. Knowing that once your eyes open, it doesn't stop the flow of divine grace. This is kind of what ancient yogis did, and sometimes people with meditation do, is they help people close their eyes to really connect and center. And what that does actually from spiritual technology's point of view is, if the eyes for the most people on the planet are the most dominant sense. So that we have their eyes, we have our ears, there's 5 physical senses, and we have 6 kind of senses total. So our eyes, our ears, nose, mouth, touch, and then of course energy, sensations. You can call it intuition if you want. But the eyes are the most dominant of our senses, actually. So when you take those away, it forces you to use some of the other senses. So I was just talking about it last night. We're in the middle of teaching a master practitioner training, advanced Oneness NLP training, and which is, it's different than anything else on the planet. And that's just not a nice belief that I have. It's my truth. And I'll give you some experiences about that. But there was an exercise that we were talking about and I feel it's important to share for you all, is most people operate on the planet most of the time. This is what I found to be true. Most people on the planet operate in what I call the psychological world. In previous videos, if you watch our YouTube channel and take a look at some of the different webinar series and different videos that we've done, we talked about this, but I'll give a little brief summary. What we teach in our school, in our system, there's 4 different worlds that all human beings live in. We have a physical world, which you're looking through your physical eyes. You can either see me with your eyes or you can hear me with your ears. That's just happening all in the physical world. No problem, no question. It is what it is. The physical world, you can call it the 3rd dimension. You have all the senses: see, hear, smell, taste, touch. There you go. It's pretty simple. It's everything that you can see, you can measure. Science can prove all things in the physical world. There you go. Awesome. Then there's something that's a different world. There's 4 worlds. There's a physical, psychological, spiritual, and financial. The financial is kind of universal. It equals all 3 of these, but I'll break it down. Physical world, simple. No one really has questions with that. Psychological world is different. Right away, a lot of people in science and certain psychologists, they think the mind and the brain are the same thing, or the brain and the mind are the same thing. It's really simple. I'll prove that it's not. And I'll prove that you can't prove that a mind exists, even though we all agree that we have a mind. So really simple. Brain is it exists in the physical world. I hope you've never seen your brain before, because that might be bad news, but I can trust that you assume or presuppose that you know that you have a brain. I'm sure you've seen a brain before. So you have this thing called the brain, which is a physical electrical switching station of the body. It sends a lot of signals. It works a lot through electricity. And there's these neural pathways. This brain is a physical organ. You can weigh it, you can dissect it, you can separate it, you can point to the different hemispheres, the different lobes. This functions this and this and that, all that good stuff. The mind is non-physical. The mind does not exist in the physical world. It's a very important distinction to understand, because most people, they operate psychologically in the psychological world, and the mind speaks for the physical world. The mind speaks for the spiritual world. The mind speaks for the financial world. The mind is like a donkey, and it's meant to be ridden over. You're supposed to use the mind. I don't know if you got the memo yet, but you're supposed to actually use the mind, grab a hold of the mind. It's just that most systems, most schools, most psychologies, even certain different modalities of NLP, in my experience, hasn't fully taught people how to use the mind. It go into the spiritual world and the spiritual psychology. They talk about, just from the spiritual world, I'll get into it in a second. The mind is like a donkey, and the donkey's riding you. You're supposed to ride over the donkey. In the physical world, if you don't use your body, you lose it. I'm sure everybody's heard that. In the psychological world, if you don't use your mind will use you, meaning the programs that you inherited from your parents, from society, from humanity, from religion, from wherever you grew up in the world at that time period. It gets anchored in, and it's going to continue to run the show until you go back to the root cause and upgrade it and see if it's in alignment with your higher self, higher consciousness, your life's purpose, all that great stuff. So the psychological world exists parallel to the physical world, but nobody can see it with their physical naked eyes. This is what gets very, very interesting in my world. Physical world, you can see this. I'm looking outside. I'm looking in my room. It's a beautiful place. I'm looking at some beautiful people. Awesome. Psychologically, all memories are stored psychologically. The mind thinks in pictures and images. This is what it does. The mind can't feel anything. The mind can't see anything with its with your physical eyes. It can't taste or touch or smell. The mind actually can't experience anything. So we actually go pretty deep in separating. There's a difference between your body and the mind. They're different. They're different worlds. The physical, psychological, spiritual, and financial world, these are 4 separate worlds that cannot be separated. And your conscious mind won't be able to fully understand it, even though I know your intelligence knows exactly what I'm saying, your inner intelligence. But it's actually, we go beyond the mind a little bit, not to be mysterious or making up things, but it's really true. It's when a lot of truth will ring true for you if you just bring the information inside and see if it is true for you. But the psychological world, the mind thinks in pictures and images, puts meaning to things. This is how the mind works. It's mind 101. But nobody can prove the mind, because nobody in the history of ever has ever seen the mind with their physical naked eyes, because the mind does not exist in the physical world. However, people believe that, or we all know that we have a mind. Even on, like I said, I bring this up before, on Facebook. You go to Facebook and you're going to post something and text something that says, what's on your mind? So we all agree as a species that we have a mind, but nobody in the history ever can ever prove it. And I can even go a step further. We can't prove that we have beliefs. We can't prove they have values. We can't prove actually we have emotions, because how do you weigh them? Has anyone ever seen an emotion before? And somebody might say, yeah, I've seen somebody that's angry. Well, how do you know they're angry? They might tell you they're angry, but can you open them up? You can see we have a brain. We could open somebody up and see that they have a brain, but can you open them up and see where the mind is? No. Can you see where the thoughts are? No. Can you see where decisions are made, memories? No, because it doesn't exist. But the majority of us are actually non-physical. I'm just going to keep flowing with it and see how it goes for you guys. So physical world, we have the senses. Psychological world, we have pictures and images and meaning that our mind puts to it. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. Then we have the spiritual world. The spiritual world is the emotional world. All emotions are the spiritual world. It's all the feelings. Senses and information comes in through the body. The mind can put meaning to it, can delete information, can store information. The spiritual world is directly from source or directly from experience. The spiritual world is all feelings or emotions. One of the things that we teach is in the heart center, the center of the heart center, not the physical heart. There's a physical heart we all have. It's slightly to the left for a lot of people, for most people. I'm talking about the center of your chest. In this spiritual world, you can say it's the fourth chakra. It's the heart center. But and this is where all emotions come from within our physical body. And to be technical, this is the only way we can actually connect to higher consciousness or source, is through our heart center. People try with their mind, they have beliefs, but I share this many times for people, is I met many people that believe in a higher consciousness or God, but don't experience it. And I've also met people that experience higher consciousness and don't believe it. So, and there's people that, this is where it gets tricky, but all the emotions come through and we feel it in our heart center. We can radiate, it can get big, it can small, we can, especially as empaths, which everybody in this call is, we can contract our energy, we can, expand our energy, we can contract our energy. This is one thing that we teach empaths is, especially for empaths, it's important for empaths to be able to expand our energy. We're here to share light. Let's be honest with each other. We're here to share light. We're here to actually connect people. And let's also be honest with each other. It's not as easy as that, is it? Because Earth is very heavy. It's third dimension. There's a lot of suffering for humanity. And we've been probably conditioned a lot of times that maybe we get feedback that the world doesn't want light, or it's not ready, or our parents are hurt, and we're actually here to help, some of that. But a lot of empaths that I found to be true is when they get hurt or when they have fear, they contract, which is the absolute worst thing you can do. And it comes from a younger time, and it comes from in your life where you learn this and you contracted and it was modeled for you, all that stuff. But actually we teach empaths when the going gets tough, expand, not from an ego, but what's called a neo. The ego is a false sense of self. It's only meant to be a loner. It's supposed to enter your life around 2 years old. It's really supposed to leave around 21. The problem that most people have is when the ego enters, they get it through the rest of their life, to die, come back, and the ego comes again. We're here to actually help people free from the ego, and that's a different conversation, but I want to give you guys more and more experiences. So we have the spiritual world where in the heart, there's no thoughts. I've never found a human being ever, I'm open to it, I've never found a human being in the history of ever that has thoughts in their heart. And I never have found a human being ever that has feelings and emotions in their head. I have found a lot of human beings, most human beings, their head speaks for their hearts. Oh, this is what I feel, this is what I believe, or this is my truth, but it might be actually their belief. We actually increase the level of awareness and consciousness for you to be able to decipher the difference. So physical, senses, psychological, thoughts and pictures, spiritual, emotions. And then there's the universal or financial. We call it wealth. Wealth, money is included in wealth, but wealth is not limited to money. Wealth really equals health, in the pinnacle of this physical world is health, and the opposite, the lowest part of physical world is dis-ease or death, right? Life, death, dis-ease, health. Okay, in the psychological world, it's success, it's winning, it's achievement, it's doing what you want, and you actually use the mind to get the results that you want. The opposite of the success is failure. I failed to get the job done, failed to achieve my dreams, failed to fulfill my life's purpose. It's not a great feeling, because the feelings are awesome because it's feedback. The failure feelings are actually feedback from the universe and your body and your higher consciousness that what you're doing isn't working, but you're not meant to not do it. You're meant to learn from it so you don't repeat the same experience over and over again. Pinnacle of the spiritual world is connection. You can call it oneness if you want. It's all that is. It's connection. Here, it's loneliness. This is the existential suffering. This is what most people run away from, escape from themselves. And it's why the spiritual world is hard for people, because they don't have a lot of training and teaching, which is what we offer, to be able to find a solution for this to get up here. So wealth equals health plus success plus connection. This plus this plus this equals wealth. You can't have wealth with these things. I'm not just saying rich, I'm not just saying money, I'm saying wealth. So in a nutshell, very big nutshell, that's what we do. And that's a little bit how we do it. Now, sharing with what Amanda was saying, very briefly, my background, I entered the NLP game, the NLP world at HNLP. It was in 2004. NLP very loosely got created in the late 1970s by three people, but two famous people, Richard Bandler, John Grinder. These two guys studied with these other three people at the top of the world, psychologists, psychotherapists. They were getting so many results in life. These guys, it was a little finger puppets, I guess. These guys are saying, hey, you guys are awesome. They're like, hey, thank you. And they're saying, how do you guys are so awesome? And they're like, we don't know. And they're like, wait, let me talk for ourselves. And they went and talked to each other. Okay, yep, got a game plan. All right, can we model from you one by one? Can we study with you guys and maybe record and write some things down and see how you do what you do? And they're like, let me talk. Yeah, that's cool. Let's do that. Sorry, I got a little Persian here that wants to say hi. We love animals and we share it. And so this is my little Samson, and he just wanted to say hi. And sometimes he'll say it with his tail, and sometimes he'll make a little noise, but there you go. Hey, Sams. My best bud. So let's talk about it. Yep, you can model from it. So these guys studied from these guys one at a time. Okay, we'll write some stuff down. This one, write some stuff down. This one, write some stuff down. Cool. We're going to create this thing called NLP. And it, in a way, it came from psychology, because these were the three of the world's top psychologists and psychotherapists that were getting more results than anybody else. They extracted a methodology, a model, called it NLP, Generation 1, Neuro-linguistic Neuro-linguistic programming. So it's loosely the language of the mind. It's how the psychological mind puts meaning to things. Cool. There's another guy named Frank Pucelik that is starting to get a lot more credit now. So it's three main guys, two main guys, one other guy. Okay. First generation was more masculine dominant. In our training, we teach the difference between a masculine and feminine energies. Obviously, everyone's empaths, and it's not a question. It's not, I don't even have to say, I don't have to convince you guys. I don't have to build value. You guys know that it's about balance. It's not about extreme feminism in the world. It's not about extreme masculine in the world. It's not about extreme anything. It's not about all or nothing. It's about balance, about connection. It's not about, I'm only going to use my left brain. My right brain sucks. I'm only going to use my left brain. No, both brains are awesome. So it's using all of your resources, not only your left and right brain, but your head and your heart, and your head, heart, and your body, and your head, heart, and the body in the universe, psychological world, the physical world, psychological world, spiritual world, down here, my belly button, physical world, and then the universal world. It's about using all and being really at one with all these things. Systematically is what we teach. So a couple of the advantages is this information wasn't given on the planet before this particular time. These guys cracked some sort of code, and it was technology. There's been spiritual technologies, there's been psychological, there's been financial, all these things. This is just the time of the world for really greatness to come through. And it came through the perfect people at the perfect time. When I say the perfect people, it chose to go through the perfect people, but they weren't necessarily perfect people, how people would say. It was more masculine dominant. There was a lot more egos involved. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. And some of the trainings, and I don't share this very much because I shared it a little bit with my master practitioner. And if you guys ask me personally, I'll share with you. But I will share this, and this is just my truth. And hear me out what I'm saying. Especially if you're an empath, I highly would not recommend going to train with the original founders, because it's not going to probably feel good for you, and it might feel not of the light 100%. That's all I'm going to say. If you have more questions for that, you can contact me personally. We'll have a conversation. I'll share that. But it's in NLP, we have this, it's called a presupposition. It's a really cool thing. It says you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So if somebody has something brilliant, like Richard Bandler or John Grinder did, what can we learn from them? And then how can we evolve it? So people like one of my teachers her name is Julie Silverthorne. She's one of the top people on the planet with NLP. She went and studied from the original founders, and she took all of what they had, plus added some traditional staples of psychology, because they had more of a psychology background. My teachers did. And a lot of the second generation the first generation was more NLP, where they go in, they would touch and anchor you, and without necessarily getting permission. An empath, that doesn't work very well. And everyone on this call right now, I can feel it. I can read your energy. Every single one of you, and myself included, has this personality inside that says, don't tell me what to do. You don't want to really necessarily told what to do. You want to be guided. You want to be built value. You want it to be put on a beautiful golden, sparkly silver platter with, diamonds or whatever. You want it presented to you for you to make the choice, not to be told what to do. In my experience, a lot more NLP, and still my experience, the more I'm getting experiences, is what it's coming more and more true for me. Traditional NLP, they'll anchor things in, they'll do it. They might not ask for permission. More masculine dominant. I'll leave it there. Boom. Second generation, my teachers went and studied with the founders, and they said, there's brilliance here. And they wanted to use it for more people. So they called it humanistic neuro-linguistic psychology. Level 2, generation 2. Level 1, generation 1 was more head-based. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's more head-based. It is what it is. I don't know if anyone would disagree that studies. Generation 2 is more heart-based. So they wanted to, instead of, yes, the mind is a supercomputer. No, people aren't computers unless they're totally disconnected, running on programs, no awareness. Okay, then we can say maybe they're computers. But there's a supercomputer within people, and an NLP kind of try to hack into the computer or whatever you want to say, and then make some changes. Awesome, great. But there's a person attached to the supercomputer inside. There's also a body, and there's also a heart, and there's also all kinds of other things. So my teachers went and studied and made it more heart-based. It's more holistic. That's great. But the thing that was missing in 2004 when I came in, this is my experience of NLP. Some people can have a not so positive experience of NLP, and they'll, for those of you guys who know a little bit of NLP, they'll generalize. Say, oh, I know NLP once. I've done this, boom. And there's people maybe even on this call that have had other experiences and other trainings in NLP, and like, oh, I know NLP. Well, I agree, you know what you know of NLP, but you don't know what we do, because there's nobody else on the planet that does what we do. And that's why I'm really building a value. I want to give you more and more experiences, and just double checking the time here. Perfect. So what was missing for me was the spiritual connection. And it's just, and anyone in NLP to be able to teach the spiritual connection, they needed to be spiritually connected, not just, I do yoga for this many years. I do transcendental meditation for 40 years. Not just, I've done something with the kahunas in Hawaii. I'm like somebody who's actually transformed, someone who's actually purely connected, not as a belief, not as anything with psychologically, somebody experientially. And it just so happened right after 2004, when I received my training, I didn't know how spoiled I was until last year in 2017, when I went to the International NLP Conference and found out my HNLP was quite a bit different training. Julia Silverthorne, my teacher, was going to present. She unfortunately broke her arm. And a lot of people missed out on the opportunity to see like how brilliant, how magic, and how actually different and more advanced I feel HNLP is from NLP. But anyways, in 2006, myself and my wife and a few other friends, we went to, I went in 2006, Amanda went a little bit later. to this the school where, you know, the top of the world's, you know, spiritual people, Deepak Chopra went train there, Eckhart Tolle, the Dalai Lama, the Pope actually tried to send the secretary at the time to recruit this place to be exclusively part of the Catholic religion. Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, like kind of the who's who of politics, the who's who of spirituality, the who's who of like transformation, even the coaches. A lot of people went, a lot of the leaders went to this training, and they went maybe once or twice. For me, I went over 10 years, and I received the highest level of training that the school had to offer. If they were open for 10 years, received all the training. The best way to explain it is spiritual technology. NLP is psychological technology in my world, in my language. This is spiritual technology. So I felt that was what was missing in NLP. And so I put it together, created this thing called Oneness NLP, this thing called the oneness phenomenon that you're experiencing a little bit just by, number one, listening to the sound of my voice. And I'm not saying that as a hypnosis. I'm just saying just by listening to what I'm saying, things are going to be, you're probably going to feel calmer and lighter and things like that. Questions might come up and charges might come up, and that's fine too. So before I go further and before I just keep flowing with what I'm flowing, which is pretty awesome, at least in my world, who has, I can do one of two, here are two options, and you guys get to choose. Who has something that you would like to, no charge to you, this is totally complimentary, and some companies pay me thousands of dollars to do what I'm about to share with you, and some people pay me hundreds of dollars. So for you, special price for you, free. Who amongst you has something, you don't even have to give me a lot of detail. It doesn't have to be so personal, or it can be as authentic as you want. But I want to give you guys a lot of experiences, and one way I can do it is personal. You say, Jeremiah, I want to see how good you are. This is what you could say. Even if you don't have to say it, I can say it for you. Jeremiah, I want to see how good you are. I'm going to give you this problem, and I want you to get rid of it within 3 minutes, under 3 minutes. And I'll be like, cool, no problem. And I'll give you the experience. And not only would you have that personal experience, but other people on this call will have some sort of healing and clearing too. So we'll do as many of these 3 minutes as possible. Let's just see if I can do it 90, because I like to challenge myself. 3 minutes is not that much of a challenge, but let's just see. So that's one option, is you guys share with me, and then let's just see how good I am. Let's see how good this work is. It's not even really me, it's how good this work is, this Oneness NLP. That's one option. The other option is if I, in about 30 seconds, say, all right, well, who wants to do this? And if people are humming and hawing, I don't know, then I'm going to channel, which is what we do, because everything we do is divinely guided. And I'm going to go into the collective consciousness and just clear things from you guys by whatever processes that flows through. So one option is more direct, one is more indirect. Either way, you're going to feel a lot better. So let's open it up to unmute yourself. First one who speaks goes first. Jenny.
I would like to release resentment.
Cool. All right, so keep it unmuted. I'm not going to time myself because I have confidence in my time skills. So you want to release resentment. So here's the deal too. I'm going to feel what you're saying, and I'm going to feel who else needs to release resentment. So I'm going to share where help everybody. So how open, because we could potentially release this, but you don't have to say anything. But how much do you want to share externally?
I can share whatever.
All right, ready for it?
Sure.
Okay, so you want to release resentment. Where is this resentment that you're holding on to? In your pocket? Is it in your purse?
I feel my heart right now.
It's in your heart. How long have you had this resentment for? Just curious.
10 years.
10 years. Okay. So what caused this resentment to be a problem in your life? First thing.
Not getting what I wanted.
Back then, 10 years ago. Yeah? So 10 years ago, you didn't get what you wanted, and you felt betrayed.
Yes.
First question for you is, do you have all the resources now? You've done quite a bit between personal growth and development for the last 10 years, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you feel your current present self has the resources that your 10 years ago self did not have? Do you have what it takes now to, if you would have had the same experience 10 years ago now, would you have the same problem?
No.
Okay. So you can either do one or two things. Well, you can do one of three things. Number one is you can go back 10 years ago now in your mind and just directly give the you 10 years ago of what you didn't have, but you have now. Or you can have the 10 years ago person you come to here now and give it. Or you can just send it like a shuttle or like a golden ball, send it over and give it to them. Or some sort of combination of what your conscious mind or higher consciousness would like to do now. And let me know how you're feeling now. It's like going like this, like going, it's an upward spiral now, leaving you. So how is she feeling? The younger you?
I hear lighter.
Is there anything
better.
else? Is there anything else that she needs to release? First answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Does she know how to do that?
She is asking me now.
Okay. Can you invite the presence of your higher self, your higher consciousness into your body and into her body?
Yes.
And ask her higher consciousness directly to do it for her. You can ask your higher consciousness, which is her higher consciousness, the one and the same. So you can, which is actually true for all of us, but you can ask her higher consciousness to directly download whatever it is that she needs, just to install it into her consciousness, into her being, and or remove, release whatever she doesn't need. And this can happen as quickly as her higher consciousness would like to do it.
Okay.
She's cleared? She's cleared? First answer?
Yes.
She's upgraded?
Yes.
Does she need to stay in the past?
No.
Okay. Can you bring her into the room and into your heart? And if she's cleared and integrated, and of course, divinely guided, you can ask your unconscious mind or higher consciousness to grow her up from 10 years ago, all the way in light of the changes that happened back then, all the way to the age second moment you are now, fully integrating the four as one. You, your higher consciousness, her higher consciousness, or the three as one, or the two as one, or the one.
Yes.
So I love your smile, which is a nice smile. Tell me about resentment. How try to get it back. Try to feel it right now.
I don't have it.
Where'd it go?
Back to source.
Cool. So if you bring it back to source, not psychologically, because the mind can't experience anything, but if you actually truly, directly, experientially, feeling, bringing it back to source, source can take care of it, whatever source is. People can call it source, they can call it Vishnu, they can call it Shiva, they can call it God, they can call it infinite intelligence, they can call it whatever they want to call it. Whatever them all calling it, all labels come from the mind. But beyond the mind is consciousness. Consciousness is what created the mind. The mind is fundamentally limited by itself. So we go beyond the mind. We go with it. We use the mind. We go beyond the mind. In the spiritual, psychological, that's where the mind can't really follow. Your consciousness knows exactly what we're doing, and it feels amazing and great. At least that's what it feels like for me. And I'm feeling what you're feeling. But yes, goes back to source. Done. Boom. Great job. Thank you for being so brave and going first. Who's next? If anybody. Cool. All right, Babette.
Hi. What I'd like to clear, I don't really know how to I don't know exactly what it is, but.
Where is it?
I know what it is, but I feel it.
Where is it?
Kind of in my throat and heart.
So it's in your throat and heart. Was it there yesterday?
Yeah.
Was it there a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
Was it there this whole life?
Most of it.
Okay, not everything, but most of it. So there's times when it comes and times when it doesn't come. Times when it's there, times when it's not there.
No, it's been here. It's been here since my father died.
Since your father died. Okay, cool. When did your father die?
When I was 5.
When you were 5. Okay. All right. I'm just seeing some stuff, getting some insights now. Okay. So your father died. You were 5. You felt it on some level, but like you felt it on some level, but psychologically probably didn't fully understand or process it.
Right.
Is 5. Go ahead.
And now, like, I know I have a father, but he's absent.
So you know you're connected to your father, but
He's been absent. So.
Okay. So with most deaths, a lot of people have a struggle with is, so one of the things that we share and we teach, where there's attachment, there's no connection. And where there's connection, there's no attachment. And all attachments can only exist through the mind and the psychological world. And only connections can only exist through the heart and the spiritual world. They cannot exist at the same time. You can't be connected and attached. It doesn't work, either connected or attached. If there's disconnected, it can be disconnected, so there can be no attachment. And if you're detached, you really can be not connected too. But so what happened was, true or false, there's a part of you that, so he died. Yeah, he physically became no longer physical, left his body. And there's still a part of you that hasn't fully processed it, the 5-year-old part.
Right.
So, but other part, you there's a separation, a split apart. So you've evolved, you've grown, and you've, from a spiritual standpoint, you can relate to him, connect to him. Or not.
Yeah.
Is it more of a concept?
It's more of a concept.
Perfect. So what we need to do is remove the attachment of your father so you can actually be connected to your father. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So where is your father's presence right now? Out of anywhere in the universe, compared to your body, in relation to your body, where is his presence of his higher consciousness? First answer.
Behind me.
Okay. Is it cool to be behind you, or can you be in front so you can see?
Yeah, it's cool for him to be in back of me.
Okay, cool. And where is your higher self in relation to your body and your father now? First answer.
Like above my head.
Okay. Can you ask your higher consciousness come inside your heart and expand and fill up the entire room, including your father behind you?
Okay.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first we had your father's higher consciousness, which is behind you. Then we asked where your personal higher consciousness is, which is above you, which is cool, but it's not as cool as being inside. Because if your higher consciousness for any human being, this is what I found to be true, is above you or outside of you, it can resonate. You can feel percentages of it, but not the whole thing. It's not possible for a human being to feel God, higher consciousness, while it's outside of them. Okay. People can have beliefs and things like that, but I'll just get into it. So if you ask for it, and you can't force it because you can't touch it with your physical, you can, but not in this particular instance. So you can ask for it to become inside, and then you have it expand. That's the second thing that we did. Third thing is, where is the little 5-year-old you compared to what's happening right now in the past?
Yeah, I mean, like kind of a vision of, yeah, she's watching from in the past or not in the past. She could be like decades ago, or she could be right close. Right here.
Perfect. She's right there. So do you realize on some level that if the 5-year-old you remains separate from your father's higher self, then she can't feel connected to him?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So ask for her to, what would happen actually, let's just find out. What would happen if you asked your father behind you, that's now completely connected with divine source, and her, because she's in the room, right? So your higher consciousness filled and expanded. It's completely filled up and surrounded and connected. Her, it's completely filled up and surrounded and connected your dad and you. So what would happen if you asked your higher consciousness through your father to go and walk over to your 5-year-old and give her a big squeeze, or just say hi? What would that do or feel like?
I don't know. Okay. What's coming up is, she's just like, she doesn't want to, I guess she doesn't even want to know what it feels like because it's like pain for her.
So in her mind, this is the problem. Not your problem, this is the problem. The problem is she had this traumatic experience when she was 5. She didn't have the tools, the resources, the skills, or the support to fully process that. And so her mind unconscious mind put a meaning to that experience, boom. And it's called, but it's called a synesthesia. There's a picture and a negative feeling, emotion. That's the problem. That's what's blocking it. That's what's blocking her from you. That's what's blocking her from higher consciousness, her from her father, and you from your father, and your father from her. It's not a problem. I mean, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. So let us get to the root cause of this problem, and we'll finish this out. So ask your unconscious mind or higher consciousness, what is the less than positive picture in her mind as a 5-year-old that's causing this disconnection? What is the first thing that's attached to the fear, the anger, the hurt? What's attached to that? What does that look like?
It looks like a ripping apart. It's the fear of separation.
Okay. When you were 5, you felt you ripped apart from your father.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what was ripping apart? Was it a picture ripping apart? Was it a heart ripping apart? Was it a teddy bear ripping apart? What was ripped apart within your mind?
It's skin.
Skin.
Like
whose skin?
mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hers, right? Hers. So when you look at her, is she in 2 pieces?
No, it's like she has an open wound.
Where on her body?
I keep getting my arm. I'm not really
Cool.
sure.
Yeah, perfect. On the arm. Who ripped it apart? Who's the ripper? First answer.
She was.
She ripped her own apart. Just without conscious mind trying to judge this first answer. And for what purpose?
To feel.
Feel what? Hurt?
To feel something.
Okay. Because she didn't feel much, yeah? So she's been holding on to this for a lot of years, yeah? Feel something. And she did, true or false, she did the best of what she knew how to do with what she knew how back then. She did her best.
Mm-hmm.
But she did it as a 5-year-old, disconnected from everything. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. That's the cause of the problem. She did it. She didn't probably consult with anybody. Hey, I'm going to rip this apart because I want to feel something. She didn't probably have a conversation with her mom or her best friend or this or that. It just happened. It's not a problem, not a judgment. But that's also part of the problem is she's disconnected.
Yeah.
So would you ever tell any 5-year-old in the history of ever if they're having a hard time to rip open their skin?
No.
So what would you tell a 5-year-old? Father just died. If you can imagine, she's close to be in front of you. Her father just died. What would you say, knowing what you know now and as connected as you are connected and has grown as much as you have grown and learned as much as you have learned? What would you share with her?
Well, I'd bring her in and I'd hold her and hug her. And
what would that do for her?
it would do a lot to be able to sit and know someone's there and that she's not alone. She's never alone. And that even his leaving wasn't him leaving her, and then it's not like, well, she was told something else, but I would just let her know that he's not, and we're not what she sees. We're so much more. And that maybe his body isn't there, but he's still here. And then I talk to her about her dreams and let her know that just the way she moves in her dreams is the same way we all move. And that I just help her to understand we're not these bodies.
Yeah, our bodies are rentals. They're loaners. They're temporary for our duration of the stay here on Earth. Just like if any one of us were going to go to Miami or go to Paris or whatever, we'd maybe rent a car, maybe. So you rent the car for the duration of your trip. So this is a loaner It's not permanent for the duration of our time here on earth. It's all it is. It's awesome. It's our first spiritual gift, actually, which a lot of people don't fail to receive. Our mind's actually a spiritual gift too, which a lot of people don't fully understand how to use, which we help people as best to our ability. So is there anything stopping you, blocking you, preventing you from doing that for her now? For going and giving her a big squeeze?
No.
Bringing her inside?
No.
And just saying, you know what? You're hurt, and that's okay. I'm going to kiss your hurt. I'm going to hold your hurt. Hurt's temporary. Hurt doesn't need to be forever.
Right.
And I'm going to give you that connection to, I'm going to, like, once she's inside now, you can actually have, if you wanted to, your dad's higher consciousness also come inside and guide their hands together.
Okay. Okay.
And any questions that she has, why did you leave me? This is just from a 5-year-old's mind. No, there's no judgment. 5-year-old's mind, ego mind. Why did you leave me? He can just say, I didn't leave you. It's for this. And remember, sweetheart, you chose to have this experience even before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have her in your higher consciousness give you an experience to show you, to rewind back before you were born this life, and to show you the time of your life preview where you got all these lessons and learnings, where you sat down with Source and you said, I want to learn these things, and your father's presence was right there. And he, the same thing, for all of you guys. So how does that feel?
Good. Yeah. She got the understanding because the story came together. So I was able to let her know.
And for her able to knowing now, does she need to hold on to any hurt?
No.
Okay, so she can let go, dissolve, ditch the hurt, and receive what in its place? Her father?
That and happiness, and yeah. Because, yeah, she understands. He came, because he came. He basically, he came to help. He came so she could come in. And not everyone stays as long as we think they should. And so she sees that and understands that now.
And if he didn't come, you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be you. And if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be you.
Right, right.
So you can ask, if you can ask your higher conscious if you want to send gratitude to him, and you can keep her the age she is, or you can have your unconscious mind or higher consciousness choose to decide to grow her up to the age, moment, second you are now, or whatever would be best and whatever level and whatever speed, whatever it's ready now.
No, I'll leave her because I want my younger self. My
Perfect.
whole younger self.
Perfect. Let her frolic, let her play, and let her do whatever she needs to do and have fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great job.
Thank you.
Cool. So that was a few different experiences, and I do, for the first one, maybe it's around 3 minutes. Second one, I'm going to take as long as it takes to get the healing done. One thing I share with my students, it might seem extreme or dramatic, but it's not. But hear what I'm sharing. For me, how I work, I would rather, or I'm willing to die before I fail with a connection. And it sounds, whatever. It's true, but the point I'm trying to make is when I'm working with somebody, yeah, it might sound smooth and this and that and all that great stuff, but I'm not going to give up on somebody. Now, if somebody's not ready, I'm not going to force anybody for sure. If somebody's resisting, I do my best to reframe and build value and all that. So I can't force people, but at the same time, I haven't had a client that is totally broken down or student or someone that I worked with, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Because we completely free people from not knowing what to do. We teach people, we anchor them, attach them to their unconscious mind, their inner intelligence, plus their higher consciousness. Unconscious mind and higher consciousness are not the same thing. Unconscious mind is the storage, the records of all the experiences that you've ever had in all your lifetimes. Higher consciousness is everything that ever has, is, or will be. Your unconscious mind doesn't have my unconscious mind's information, but your unconscious mind can tap into my unconscious mind's information. But higher consciousness, that's where it goes. And the conscious mind is like a snowman. So the head, which is like the computer screen. The unconscious mind is like the body, which is like all the memory and storage. And the higher consciousness is like the ground, the earth, everything that ever has, is, or will be. So there's a different world between them both, and it's a lot more technical. So Just wanted to give you guys some experiences and to thank you for your time, because I believe we only set an hour of your time today that we were going to invest together. And we're going to do another one next month. Amanda's probably going to give you the details, but I just wanted to thank you for being here, whether I talk to you directly or indirectly, as a group or individually. There's going to be a lot of clearing that's already has happened for you and will continue to happen for you now and throughout the rest of the day today. So be prepared to be pleasantly surprised of how much lighter and more connected you might feel just from this call. And you don't even have to remember it or have it anchored or associated to this. It doesn't matter, because it's all about you. I want it to be anchored into your heart. So thank you guys very much for your time. Amanda, what's the next step?
So we have the next call similar to this. It'll be a different topic though, coming up on August 18th, which is a Saturday as well. And it's the same time, whatever time zone you happen to be in. That's 7 a.m. Central for those in the US. Anyone in the UK, it is at 1 o'clock p.m. The reason why I'm mentioning UK is because this is also an introductory series for people considering taking or already committed to taking the London Oneness NLP practitioner training that we have coming up.
I'm going to share this, Amanda.
Yeah.
The difference is the people that do go through this training, they get 4 certifications actually. When anybody does our practitioner training, they get 2 certifications: NLP, Neuro-linguistic programming, and HNLP, humanistic neurolinguistic psychology. So it's all the staples of NLP plus additional stuff. That's why our training is a little bit more hours than traditional NLP. For this training, there's 4 of them. There's Neuro-linguistic programming certification, internationally standards. HNLP, same thing. Oneness NLP, which you have to be a oneness blessing giver. So it's the ability to be able to transfer divine grace or consciousness to people to help them actually awaken at a rapid rate, the most rapid rate I've ever found. So you get actually 4 certifications with this one training, which we've never done before.
Yes, we're very excited about it. So if you want more information on that, you can go to our website, IntraAwareness.com, and there'll be a photo on the top that you can click on to check that out. Otherwise, we will see you next month.
And if you have any questions, contact us, show up. But we're going to be sending you lots of love and light until next time we see you. So thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.